What's going on, Helldivers? My name is Dad Pool, and in today's video we'll be placing every primary weapon currently available in the game into a tier list.
Now we're going to start out with the energy weapons. Up first is the LAS Tech 16 Sickle. As the name insists, this thing is pretty sick. Honestly, this energy weapon is a gold standard for what an assault rifle should be, with its fire rate of 750 and damage output of 55. This weapon not only has pinpoint accuracy, but also is light armor penetrating and one of the best scopes with 3 different range optics. And if you can keep a keen eye on the heat mechanic, you'll never run out of ammo. This weapon is a solid choice, B tier for the Sickle. The LAS Tech 5 Scythe. Not a bad choice after its most recent buff to its damage. This weapon additionally is also light armor penetrating and utilizes the heat mechanic we saw in the previous weapon. However, this weapon utilizes a constant beam. This weapon is pretty good at taking out Devastators with a well-aimed headshot. However, I find the weapon scope on the Scythe to be one of the worst. C tier for the Scythe. The SG Tech 8P Punisher Plasma. This weapon is fantastic against the bots or bugs. The only drawback is the fact that you have to angle your shots. But with some practice, you'll be able to take out your medium armor enemies, as well as your hordes of enemies with ease. A tier for the Punisher Plasma. The ARC Tech 12 Blitzer, another fine weapon with unlimited ammunition. Works great against Terminids when hip-fired, and you're able to take down your hordes of enemies. When aimed, you can one-shot headshot a Brood Commander. The downside of this weapon lies in its fire rate. For me, even after the update as well, you have to be cautious if all teammates aren't wearing arc resistance armor. B tier for the Blitzer. The Plastech 1 Scorcher, another great weapon against bots or bugs. It's light armor penetrating, and with its explosive trait, you can get through your enemies such as your factory striders. Only drawback this weapon has is its small magazine size. You'll find yourself scavenging for ammo frequently when using this weapon. B tier for the Scorcher. Lastly, for our energy-based weapon is the Plastech 101 Purifier. This weapon is just not it. Its weapon traits are medium armor penetrating, it utilizes a charge mechanic that doesn't seem to impact its damage output, and it's explosive like its cousin the Scorcher. Now the Scorcher just does exactly what the Purifier can do, but just better, as there's no charge up gimmick to get it to work, and the damage output to take down enemies just isn't up to par with the Scorcher, as you're able to put more bullets down range before the Purifier can get off one round. This weapon should be locked in your Hellpod Footlocker. Moving on to our explosive weapons. Up first is the R-Tech 36 Eruptor. Now this weapon was recently nerfed as the shrapnel capabilities were one-shotting chargers. However, this weapon is still a decent choice in my opinion, with its utility in taking out objectives as well as one-shotting medium enemies such as your Striders and Devastators. C tier for the Eruptor. Prior to the nerf, I would put this in upper B tier. The CB Tech 9 Exploding Crossbow. Ooh, for the ooh. Some folks like the crossbow for the stealth gameplay. I just can't justify using this weapon, as its explosion radius was unnecessarily nerfed and its magazine size is way too small to justify using it. F tier for the exploding crossbow. The Jar Tech 5 Dominator. S tier. This is the best primary against bots, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. With its medium armor penetrating capabilities, you can one-shot Devastators, take down Striders, and even your factory Striders when shooting the underbelly. Up next is our shotgun category, the SG Tech 225 IE Breaker Incendiary, another S tier. This is the best primary against bugs in terms of damage output. No other weapon has the same crowd control capabilities that the Breaker Incendiary has, and you can spray down a line, keep moving, spray down a different lane, you get the picture. The standard SG-225 Breaker. Not a terrible pick, but not my first. This weapon does output a lot of damage quickly, however with its magazine size of 13, I cannot justify using this over other weapons. C tier for the Breaker. The SG Tech 225 SP Breaker Spray and Pray. Better than the standard Breaker with its magazine size of 26, however its damage of 192 is noticeable downgrade to the other shotguns when facing hordes of enemies. C tier for the Breaker Spray and Pray. The SG Tech 8 Punisher. This shotgun is still fantastic as you're able to stagger enemies and take down your Devastators with ease. What this weapon lacks, however, is its range and damage output against your waves of enemies, as it's a pump action weapon. B tier for the Punisher. The SG Tech 8 Slugger. Now this weapon used to pack a punch, but with the recent nerf it lost its ability to stagger, as well as open areas such as blast doors with its medium armor penetration. It works the same as the Punisher. This thing has more range. It still, however, just feels worse than the Punisher without the ability to stagger. C tier for the Slugger. Moving on to our SMGs, the SMG Tech 7.2 Pummeler. It's a great weapon, has the ability to stagger enemies. It's one-handed, so you're able to carry data drives or ballistic shields along with it. It has a decent fire rate and damage output, so B tier for the Pummeler. The SMG Tech 3.7 Defender, another solid SMG with a higher damage and fire rate than its cousin the Pummeler. Also one-handed, however it lacks the stagger capabilities that the Pummeler has. B tier for the Defender. The MP Tech 9.8 Knight. Hellpot Footlocker. I don't have it, I can't judge it, so here's where it will stay for me. Moving on to the Marksman rifles, the R Tech 6.3 Diligence is a decent marksman rifle. With its ammo capacity of 20 and damage output of 125, you're often taking out your Devastators with a 2 well-placed headshot. Now, I do enjoy using this weapon when playing stealthily. I just wish the damage was a little higher. C tier for the Diligence. The R Tech 6.3 CS Diligence Counter Sniper. Same as the regular Diligence, but with a reduced fire rate and medium armor penetrating rounds. This thing is fun to use. You can one-shot headshot Devastators. My only complaint is having to deal with Striders at range. I wish that, like the Dominator, that you could destroy its legs with its medium armor pen capability. C tier for the Counter Diligence. Moving on to our final category, which is the Assault Rifle category, we have the BR Tech 1.4 Adjudicator. Now, I want to love this weapon, however, for me, the recoil still seems off, and I feel that the damage should be a little bit higher. You can switch the firing mode, which makes it more of a marksman rifle. However, I would not take this over a Counter Diligence. C tier for the Adjudicator. Next, we have the AR Tech 2.3 Liberator, the AR Tech 2.3P Liberator Penetrator, and the AR Tech 6.1 Tenderizer. These weapons are just not in a good state. They do not put out enough damage to justify using them. Hope to see changes in the assault weapon category soon. F tier for these weapons. Lastly, the last weapon that we have on our list is the AR Tech 2.3C Liberator Concussive. It has stagger. That's it. Its damage tickles the weakest of enemies, and its fire rate is abysmal compared to the other assault weapons. Hellpod, Footlocker for this one. And that's going to be my tier list as of May 20th, 2024 when making this video. Let me know in the comments what weapons you would change in your tier list. If you like this video, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Thanks again, see you in the next one, and take care, everybody.